Karen's smug grin could curdle milk. She stood on her pristine lawn, arms crossed, as if she'd just won a war nobody else was fighting. The neighborhood of Willow Creek had always been quiet, a sleepy cul-de-sac where kids rode bikes and retirees tended roses. That peace shattered the day Karen decided a wheelchair ramp was an eyesore and took matters into her own hands. Tom Harper, a 32-year-old Marine veteran, had moved into the house next door 6 months ago. He'd lost both legs in a roadside bomb blast in Afghanistan, but his spirit was unbroken. With a VA grant, he'd built a sturdy wooden ramp to access his front porch, a lifeline to the world outside his home. The ramp wasn't flashy, just functional, blending into the modest facade of his bungalow. Most neighbors admired Tom's resilience. He'd wave from his wheelchair, cracking jokes with dog walkers or tossing a football to kids from his driveway. But Karen, who lived directly across the street, saw the ramp as a personal affront to her curb appeal obsession. It started with passive-aggressive notes. Karen would slip them under Tom's door. "Your ramp blocks the sidewalk's aesthetic. Consider a less obtrusive design." Tom ignored them, assuming she'd tire out. But Karen's complaints escalated. She'd stand on her porch, loudly criticizing the ramp to anyone who'd listen, claiming it lowered property values. Neighbors like Sarah, a single mom who often brought Tom casseroles, tried to reason with her. "It's for his mobility, Karen. Let it go," Sarah pleaded one evening. Karen's response was a cold smirk and a muttered, "It's my neighborhood too." The tension simmered for weeks. Karen's husband, Greg, a quiet man who avoided conflict, stayed out of it. But Karen was relentless. She filed complaints with the HOA, which dismissed them since Tom's ramp complied with every regulation. She cornered neighbors at mailboxes, rallying them to her cause, but most sided with Tom. "She's unhinged," whispered Mrs. Patel, the block's unofficial gossip hub. "Who picks a fight with a disabled vet?" Still, Karen's obsession grew, her voice shrill at community meetings, demanding the ramp's removal. Tom, ever calm, offered to paint it any color she liked. She scoffed, "It's not about paint, it's about standards." Then came the night that changed everything. Under the cover of darkness, with a storm brewing, Karen crept across the street with a crowbar and a sledgehammer. Fueled by her vendetta, she attacked Tom's ramp, splintering the wood into a jagged heap. The noise woke Sarah, who peered out her window and gasped. She grabbed her phone, recording Karen's frenzied destruction, her face contorted with rage as she swung the sledgehammer. By the time Karen slunk back to her house, the ramp was unrecognizable, a pile of broken planks and twisted nails. Sarah's video, shaky but damning, captured it all. The next morning, Tom wheeled out to find his lifeline demolished. His face fell, a mix of disbelief and quiet fury. Neighbors gathered, murmuring in shock. Sarah showed Tom the video and his jaw tightened. "I just wanted to live my life," he said, voice low but steady. Word spread fast, and by noon, a crowd had formed outside Karen's house. She stepped onto her porch, defiant, claiming the ramp was a safety hazard, and she'd done the neighborhood a favor. The crowd wasn't having it. "You're a disgrace," shouted Mr. Nguyen, a retired teacher. Karen doubled down, yelling, "I have rights too." Sarah uploaded the video to X, tagging local news. It went viral within hours, racking up thousands of shares and comments. Karen versus veteran trended, with users condemning her cruelty. A local reporter interviewed Tom, who spoke with quiet dignity. "That ramp was my freedom. She didn't just break wood, she broke trust." The backlash was swift. Karen's social media was flooded with criticism. Her real estate business tanked as clients dropped her, and her own HOA turned against her, citing vandalism. Greg, mortified, moved out temporarily, unable to face the neighbors' glares. The legal hammer fell hard. Tom pressed charges for property damage and emotional distress, backed by Sarah's video and neighbor testimonies. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with tension. Karen, dressed in a crisp blazer, tried to spin her actions as community improvement. The judge, A no-nonsense woman with a military family background wasn't buying it. "You targeted a disabled veteran out of spite," she said, her voice cutting like glass. "Your actions were selfish, malicious, and utterly indefensible." The gallery murmured in agreement as Karen's face reddened, her confidence cracking. The judge's ruling was a masterstroke of justice. Karen was ordered to pay for a new, state-of-the-art ramp for Tom, complete with weatherproofing and custom design. But the real sting came next. Karen had to personally fund and oversee the construction of 10 additional wheelchair ramps for veterans' homes across the county, working with a local nonprofit. She was also sentenced to 200 hours of community service at a VA hospital, where she'd face the very community she'd disrespected. The courtroom erupted in applause, while Karen sat stunned, her hands trembling. The aftermath was brutal for Karen. Building the ramps was grueling, she had no construction skills, and the veterans she worked with were skeptical of her forced atonement. One, a gruff former sergeant named Mike, called her out during a build. "You think swinging a hammer erases what you did?" he asked, pointing to his own prosthetic leg. Karen mumbled apologies, but her excuses rang hollow. The ramps took months, each one a reminder of her shame. Her business never recovered. Clients saw her as toxic. Neighbors shunned her, and Greg filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Karen's pristine world crumbled, her arrogance replaced by a hollow, defeated silence. Tom, meanwhile, thrived. His new ramp was better than the last, and the community rallied around him. Sarah organized a block party to celebrate its completion, with kids decorating it with chalk drawings of stars and flags. Tom, ever humble, thanked everyone, his smile genuine but tinged with the weight of what he'd endured. The viral video had sparked a local movement, with donations pouring in to fund accessibility projects for other veterans. Tom became an advocate, speaking at events about resilience and community. "It's not about the ramp," he said at one gathering. "It's about what we owe each other as neighbors." Karen's fall was a lesson etched in the neighborhood's memory. Her house, once the envy of Willow Creek, went up for sale, but no one bid. She moved away quietly, her name a cautionary tale whispered at barbecues and PDA meetings. The ramps she built stood as monuments to her reckoning, each one a step toward redemption she'd never fully grasped. Tom's strength, and the community's unity, outshone her pettiness, proving that even in the face of cruelty, kindness could rebuild what was broken. What do you think? Did Karen's punishment fit her crime, or should the judge have gone further? How would you handle a neighbor like her?